Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo-O, July 3rd. Hey, happy birthday, my friend Bart. It's his birthday today. I think of July 3rd. I think of him, his birthday. Happy birthday, brother. Hope you were well, doing good. Maybe someone will send you this video and you'll go, whoa, Bo said happy birthday on the Devo. Anyway, I hope you guys are good. Matthew 27, part 1 today. It's a big chapter, so we'll go through just the first part. And this is the morning devotion with Bo Willett. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a birthday yesterday, and that was really cool. Had a great time. Birthday. Man, birthdays are pretty cool. We ended up going as a family to church and just enjoying getting the word. That's the best, man. I know that might sound weird for some, right? On your birthday, go to church. But there was a time on my birthday I didn't go to church. I've had many birthdays where I never attended church at all. And it wasn't even a thought, growing up out in Southern California, very progressive. We don't really read the Bible and go through it much. And boy, have I learned to appreciate the Bible, and that's why I just love to go through it. So you could always check out the archives at my YouTube channel, Bo Willett, or go to bowillett.com. That's my catch-all website, just a personal catch-all website, so you could check that out too. Patty, Tina, thanks so much for joining me. And looking forward to, I think maybe Paula, some others, maybe you're going to join. So anyway, here we go. I love to go through the Bible, Matthew 27. Let's see what it says to us today. It says, very early in the morning, the leading priest and the elders of the people met again to lay plans for putting Jesus to death. This has been something in the making for a long period of time. We saw in the book of Matthew that when Jesus was on his big world tour, if you will, of Israel, doing so many good things, the religious people have been plotting, right, to kill him, to put him to death. You notice how things just fester in these guys. They just continue to just grow and grow and grow. Man, why do we go to church so much? Why do we pray so much? Why are we in the Word so much? It's because we need to grow and we need to get things out of us, right? There are things in us that when they fester, when something takes root in our heart, it just grows and grows. And we see it in these people. We can see ourselves. We can see the world in these people. The problems with us as human beings are right here in the Bible, in these characters that we see. The religious structure is one that is riddled with all this envy and anger and hatred and jealousy, and it's just grown to this point of wanting to put Jesus to death. So they bound him and led him away and took him to Pilate, the Roman governor. They took him to the secular government, because the religious government at this time in Israel just did not have the proper authority to be able to execute someone. It had to go through Rome. Do you think the Jews were into that? Do you think they were stoked they had to bring Jesus to Pilate? No way. But they had to do it by Roman law. They couldn't just do what they wanted with Jesus. And so when Judas, who had betrayed him, realized that Jesus had been condemned to die, he was filled with remorse. Oh, I didn't think this would happen. Man, this is going a little different than I thought. Do I have remorse today for things I've done in the past? Yeah, I do. How about you? What are you remorseful about? Something that you've done and that you go, man, I wish I never did that. So he took the 30 pieces of silver back to the leading priest and the elders. I have sinned, he declared, for I have betrayed an innocent man. Man, you really see from Judas a real admitting, a real confession, a public confession at that, of his sin. And he tells it like it is. I have betrayed an innocent man. I've done the wrong thing. I have sinned. Now, in this moment, it sounds very much like the Psalms of confession, right? You read the Psalms, the songs of Israel, and there's songs of Israel that are very much like this. I have sinned. I am undone. Woe to me, right? I have done the wrong thing. An innocent man has been betrayed, and Judas finds that his hands are the ones that have done it. And it says, what do we care? They resorted. That's your problem. Spiritual leaders. A person comes to them remorseful. I have sinned. I have really done the wrong thing. And what do you think these people are supposed to do? Right? These religious people that hear Judas's confession. Do they say, hey, I want to help you. Hey, you know what? Let's point you to God. Hey, you know what? Let's talk about the healing work of God. Nope. What do? They say, that's your problem. Do I see myself in the religious leaders? Now, Jesus condemned the religious leaders, the government, the religious government, to hell. He said, you guys aren't in the kingdom. And you guys always push people more away from the kingdom, he said. And so here we see that this is what they do. Instead of really bringing people to God, they push people away. Do I see myself in that? Someone comes to me very vulnerable, very ashamed, and do I push them away? Man, that's a good word for me today to remember. Don't push people away that are coming with that honest heart. When Judas threw the silver coins down in the temple and went out, then he went out and he hung himself. God, he got so remorseful, so depressed because he was pushed away by those that should have received him. Those that should have brought him into the fold to help him heal, they pushed away. And it led him to despair, guilt over what he had done in his relationship with Jesus, probably embarrassment in front of the religious Jewish leaders. And so he hangs himself. The leading priest picked up the coins. It wouldn't be right to put this money in the temple treasury, they said, since it was payment for murder. So they knew it was payment for murder. And yet they continue to do what they do. Isn't that crazy? It's like they totally admit here that, hey, this money was money that was payment to murder someone. And so they really are cued in on their own yuck. And they say, after some discussion, they finally decided to buy the potter's field, and they made it into a cemetery for foreigners. That is why the field is still called the field of blood. This fulfilled the prophecy of Jeremiah that says they took 30 pieces of silver, the price which was valued by the people of Israel, and they purchased the potter's field as the Lord directed. Again, Matthew quotes the Bible that they had. This is something that's already been spoken of. Jesus fulfills it. His world fulfills it. His life is a fulfillment of the Old Testament. To understand Jesus fully, completely, maturely, you must read the Old Testament. It is the foundation. Now, Jesus was standing before Pilate, the Roman governor. "Are you king of the Jews?" the governor asked him. Jesus replied, "You have said it," meaning, yes, you've said it. I am king of the Jews. But when the leading priest and the elders made their accusations against him, Jesus remained silent. "Don't you hear all these charges they are bringing against you?" Pilate demanded. But Jesus made no response to any of the charges, such to the governor's surprise. So Jesus doesn't, go into great detail at all when he's being accused by these chief priests and Jewish religious leaders. He remains silent. All he's declared is that he affirmed that he is the King of the Jews. If you read the songs of Israel, known as the Psalms, you'll come across the idea that God is a king. This is something that is reiterated in the Bible Jesus read. God is the king. And Jesus affirms that he is the king. He is the Messiah, God in human flesh on the planet. And so Jesus remains silent. And the governor is surprised by that, the governor of Rome. I'd imagine that he had seen many court trials before, and he saw many people defending themselves. And yet Jesus doesn't. Jesus said, "No one takes my life, I lay it down." Jesus voluntarily laid down his life for you and me. Remember, Jesus already said, hey, if I could ask the Father, and the Father would give me thousands of angels to defend me. But so the scripture be fulfilled, this is how it needs to be. Jesus has come to do something, to accomplish something, to pay the price for your sins, to fulfill the book of Leviticus and the book of Exodus and the book of Genesis, and it goes on, right? The book of Numbers and the book of Deuteronomy. Jesus has come to fulfill the Torah. The Torah finds its meaning, its fulfillment in the Messiah, the Son that would be born, that would crush Satan's head. That's on page 3 of the Bible, by the way. And it says, "Now it was the governor's custom each year during the Passover celebration to release one prisoner to the crowd." Kind of a gesture of, hey, I'll give you guys a wonderful benefit during the holiday time. And it says, this year there was a notorious prisoner, a man named Barabbas. Isn't that interesting? Son of the Father, Barabbas. That's what his name means. As the crowds gathered before Pilate's house that morning, he asked them, "Which one do you want me to release to you? Son of the Father, Barabbas, or Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" How clear can you get, right? Pilate goes before the Jewish crowd and says, "Do you guys want the Messiah? I could release the Messiah to you, or you can have the Son of the Father, this guy Barabbas." It's interesting. Is Israel going to choose the false Son of the Father? The false, in a sense, person? The one who's not the right one? Are they going to choose the false Messiah or the real one? That's an interesting idea, right? Later on down the road, in what's called the latter days, it says there will be one person who's a part of an empire. And this will be a false Messiah. You might have heard the term Antichrist, anti-Messiah. One who claims to be the Messiah, but is not the Messiah. Well, here we see a kind of little mini picture of that in Barabbas. He is, his name, Son of the Father. And are they going to choose him over the real Messiah? Now, Pilate knew very well that the religious leaders had arrested Jesus out of envy. How's your envy today? What's your envy like? Envy is wanting what other people have and them not having it. You getting something and them getting it taken away. It's a jealousy for one's goods at the expense of them. You want them to lose out and you want what they have. You are envious of them. Instead of being blessed at someone's good fortune, you instead are envious. You wish they were you were in their shoes. You wish they had what they possessed, and that you, despite them, you wish they didn't have it at all. Just then, as Pilate was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him this message: "Leave that innocent man alone. I suffered through a terrible nightmare about him last night." So it seems that God does speak through dreams at times. I'm not saying every dream has something to do with some spiritual idea. I don't think, and I don't encourage that kind of consistent trying to figure out what you dream about. That can lead you down some really weird paths. But obviously, Pilate's wife had a dream, a nightmare, and it had to do with Jesus. And she knew when she woke up from that morning that she needed to let her husband know, do not do this. Leave him alone. Do not cave in to the Jewish leaders, to your profession, and needing to have your reputation okay. Don't do this. Man, have you ever had strong warnings like this? And then you neglected it? Even though it was right there before you? Even though the Bible's right there, you neglect it. You don't want to read it. I didn't want to read it growing up. No way. What if it said something about me? What if it looked into my heart and saw me with clarity? What would I do to be so exposed? That was a scary thought to me. Here it is just plain as day to Pilate. Jesus is called the Messiah. It's known even in the religious circles, that they are murdering Jesus. They are very clear on what they're doing. Everything is very out in the open. It's very clear what's going on. Meanwhile, the leading priest and the elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas to be released. Notice the crowd doesn't do it on their own, but they are, in a sense, persuaded. They are the news network for the people. The people believe in this news network so much that they're moved to select the wrong choice. Does that sound like today? Do news networks persuade groups of people to go the wrong direction? Yes. The fight over news is a fight over people, to move people, to control what people do. That's why controlling the news is such an important task for those in power. If you don't control the news, then you aren't going to be able to control the people. There's a link there. So the governor asked again, which of these two do you want me to release to you? He sees the manipulation. He sees what's going on. The crowd shouted back, Barabbas. Pilate responded, then what should I do with Jesus, who is called the Messiah? So it was very clear that Jesus is called the Messiah. Who is the Messiah? What would the Messiah be like? If you don't know, then start in Genesis and read. And you just, every time you read something that has to do with the Messiah, this son who would be born, that would conquer Satan, that would redeem the world, everything like that, you might want to underline it and circle it, and you'll be pretty shocked at what it says. And it says, "Why?" Pilate demanded. "What crime has he committed?" But the mob roared even louder, "Crucify him." Does the majority always get it right? No. In a mob, mobs rule, and they're moved by so much emotion, and they're moved in a particular direction, usually by power structures. Power structures move groups to be activist, right? You want to be an activist? Great. Who's moving you? Who's controlling you? What news network are you listening to? Notice this mob is really being run by the power structure. They might think that they're doing it, independently on their own, but boy, is that an illusion. They are being ruled by others. And this is what Jesus said our world was like. People ruling other people. But he said that it shouldn't be with his disciples, that the greatest will be the servant of them all, not ruling over others with an iron fist, with a sword, that kind of idea. Okay, the mob says, "Crucify him." Pilate saw that he wasn't getting anywhere and that a riot was developing, so he sent for a bowl of water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. The responsibility is all yours." Pilate sees that it's controlled, crazy activism, right? We have to stick up for Israel. We have to stick up for what's right. We have to hold fast to our history, to the truth. And this Jesus is not it. Barabbas, we'll take Barabbas. And notice that they're moved by the envy of the power structures. The desire for power, the desire to rule, is ruling the mob. And they are being controlled. Oh, college student, if you only know that you too are a puppet. And there is, as Metallica said in their album, there is a master of puppets pulling strings. And it's hard to think that, man, I thought I was being a good activist. I thought I was doing the right thing. And just to come to an understanding that you too are being used by those in power. That you might think you're on the right side, but you too have just joined the mob. And you've just yelled louder, and you've just burned more things, and you've just done more violence to get your way. You've become the bully for those in power. In thinking that you're doing the right thing, you've become that which you probably hate most. Those that are ruled by power. It's amazing how so many times we think we're doing right, like the mob that is yelling louder and louder to crucify him, but they don't know that they're just being run, right? Brainwashed by all the news and from the power of Israel, from the rulers of Israel. our world doesn't change, does it? Us humans don't change. We are lost, in need of salvation, desperately. And it says, and all the people yelled back, "We will take responsibility for his death. We will take it. And we and our children." There is a responsibility for them, for their children, for the crucifixion of Jesus. So Pilate released Barabbas to them, and he ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip, then turned him over to the Roman soldiers to be crucified. Some of the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the headquarters and called out the entire regiment. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. They wove thorn branches into a crown and put it on his head. And they placed a reed stick in his right hand as a scepter. Then they knelt before him in mockery and taunted, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they spit on him and grabbed the stick and struck him on the head with it. And when they were finally tired of mocking him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him again, and then led him away to be crucified. It's so sad to see what us human beings do to other human beings. It's a mind blower, but we have such violence in us, such crazy depravity, such uncontrollable, abominable depravity, that even if we don't know people, we can torture them. We can do things to them to inflict such pain. To think about those in our current world that are hostages and being tortured, and people are making up how to inflict pain on them. We would look at it and go, that's like, barbarian. But it's in us. That's the crazy thing. The people that are inflicting the pain are human beings. It's not some other species. It's not some alien that's inflicting harm on a human, but it's another human being that's made in the image of God. Meaning they have a heart, they have a brain, they have ears, they have eyes, just like you and I. And that is the most cringy, scary thought, is that another human being can come at you with a mindset to inflict so much pain in your life that you want to die. And yet they laugh and mock and jeer and think it's funny. And that's a human being. Sometimes gangs are like mobs, where a gang can inflict pain on another person and we laugh about it in the gang. We joke about it. When we're hanging out that night, we'll joke about the kind of pain that was inflicted on that person. This happens in gangs in LA, and this happens in the government, which is a gang too. Meaning the government can inflict pain and laugh as they enjoy sipping their pina colada on the beach. Or some gang can beat up another person and inflict pain and laugh about it as they drink their 40-ounce beers, that day. It is a human problem. And that's something that we need saving from. We need to be, our image of God has been obviously very, very tainted with our iniquities. We are bent. And we need that to be restored. And this is what the work of Jesus is all about. This work of restoring the image of God that has been marred. And the first part of this chapter shows very clearly just all the defects of us humans in vivid glory, if you will. Envy, strife, hating, lying, cheating, regretting, all these things that are going on in this chapter just shows in great example why we need salvation. That image has been marred, and Jesus comes to restore the image of God within us, to restore us to a right place. Very cool devotion for sure. It's awesome to get some of that going this morning. I hope you get going and get your day started off right, and we will talk to you soon, okay? Tomorrow's Friday. We'll finish up with the rest of chapter 7, and then we will, be on the last chapter of the book pretty soon. So, wow, finish up Matthew. You guys take care. Bye-bye.